Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Conan Exiles. It's Iron Hammer, and today, like I mentioned in the last episode, we are going to need some friends, some pets, to help us along in our adventure. The character's a little lonely. It's just him by himself here at this tower. So you can see in the distance there, I have started something interesting, hopefully interesting. Um, Today, we are going to work on getting some friends, getting some pets. So I have kind of marked off this area to, I actually built some foundations across to keep it in line, but I marked off this area to be where we are going to have our animal pen. So when we go to our journeys, let's see, where is it at? Is it even showing up? I thought there was a journey for having pets. Is it Outrider? Nope, that's for pets, or that's for horses, or yeah, horses and having a mount, which we will focus on some other time. Okay, well, anywho, aside from that, in order to start our animal journey, which I don't have it here, our pet journey, we need to go to knowledge, and let's see, if we go to which, this is under survival. If we go to survival and we scroll down, here is what we need. We need the apprentice tamer, which is going to require us to first unlock the thrall taker. So we go here to thrall taker. You have to be level 10. Unlock is 3 points. We've got 47, so we unlock that. Now we can either do apprentice tamer or stable master. So stable master is going to be for horses, mounts. There's various mounts in the game, but we're going to focus on the apprentice tamer, which gives us an animal pen, the feed box, a small animal pen, and then the shade spiced ingredients, which unlock some various different variations of the various pets that you can have. So 3 points, you got to be level 13, unlocks with level 3. So let's go ahead and unlock that. Now then, to build the animal pen, and I will note the animal pen is very, very large. Let's see, crafting stations, companions. So we now have our small animal pen, which that's not too bad. How much? Oh, I need to get my materials in a minute. So we got a small animal pen, which, as you can tell, is not very big. It only holds one animal, so you can only tame one animal at a time when you use this particular stable. For the particular pets that we're wanting, we're going to want to go big or go home, as I always say. So we're going to go with the larger one, which is the standard animal pen. It costs 300 stone, 400 wood, and 20 twine. And like I said, it is large. In fact, I didn't. It looks like I need to go a couple more out on the sides. I will deal with that in a little bit. But yeah, so as you can tell, the animal pen, it's very big, very large. But you can tame 5 animals at a time. So like I said, we need 300 stone, 400 wood, and 20 twine. Let me run over here and grab that. If you've also noticed, I switched out my armor. I am using the light armor mostly for the fact that it gives me a plus 15 carrying capacity, and that's good for when you've got a farm and you're picking up a lot of materials. It definitely helps out. So we need 300 of that, 300 of that, and some twine. Twine. Take 50 just because. But yeah, I switched over to this light armor set, mostly just for the carrying capacity increase for right now. I need to pick up a lot of rocks, pick up a lot of wood, and the other armor is good for combat. This one is good for farming. All right, so let's see here. Let's get this spun around, and kind of wish there was another camera view so I could kind of zoom out, but I think there. Did I get it right? Look at that. On my first try, I actually got it placed kind of where I wanted. So, with that being said, let me go back here, and if you ever want to build in water, just know that you may have to put some foundations underneath in order to support the ones above. So we got that fixed. Let's see if it's going to let me do this. It looks like it's not gonna let me. Well, I will fix it later. Let's do this real fast. Alrighty. Let's see. Let's bring up our companions and let's see if I can get this right on a second try. So let's see here. Did I get it right? Oh man, I got it too far to the right. And it's a little angled. Did I do it again? Nah, close. Got it close. Still a little angled that I don't like. Button. Alrighty, let's see. That looks good. Little too far to the left, but it's gonna have to make my eye twitch, knowing that it's a little too far to the left because I don't feel like redoing it again. But hey, we got it set up, and let me see if I have enough for some lights. Need branches and torches. Here and for the torch. One, two. Grab up some more branches and logs. Alright, let's see if we can put down some light. Perfect, I got two, so put one right there, and this one can go right there. I'll put this one right here. Okay. So we have our animal pen. Now we need to get some animals to put in here. And so as you can see over here on the right side under your tutorial, you have a baby shellback, some fiber plus time equals a big shellback. So what we need to do is we need to get some baby shellbacks, and I am going to destroy this rock real fast, and then I'm going to run over and empty out my pockets because these little babies are heavy. They weigh like 50 pounds each, so your inventory can quickly fill up. That there. Some other things I've done. So I made a iron sickle. I have our iron pickaxe, an iron hatchet. I have the iron targe and an iron axe. So for the iron targe and iron axe, so here is the iron axe. You need to unlock it. It costs 3 points. And then for the shield, I have the iron targe. Same thing. You have to unlock it. It costs 5 points. I go with the axe because the one-handed axes give the bleed effect. They do cripple and bleed, so you get 2 status effects with it. And so, there we go. We got some locals to do a test on real fast. Some natives to test things out with real quick. So let me run over here. Usually the big red ones are very angry. So there we go. So if I right click, I apply the cripple, and then I apply the bleed effect. And we can get us some hide. Get us some savory flesh. And we can nab us 2 little shellbacks. 1, 2. So as you can tell, these things weigh 50 pounds each. So that's 100 right there. So I could probably grab... Yeah, I can grab 1 more. That's why I wanted this light armor. So that... Excuse me. I wanted this light armor so that... I thought I'd mute my mic before I cough. So that I can carry a little bit more for this episode. So there's another one over here, I think. Usually the babies will appear around the nests. So there's a nest here, and there we go. There's that. When you grab them, you will anger the big ones. So perfect. So as you can tell, I grabbed 4. And it made these very, very mad. I grabbed their babies, so carrot that. Thankfully, they are right here. So let me waddle. That was interesting. Let me waddle over to my base real fast. Alright, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to try to find 1 more, so let's go back over here. They've already respawned, look at that. Let's see, these are going to get mad. Yes, yes, yes. And we get another one. So really quick, because I just saw it, another reason why I have the sickle is the sickle is good for getting fiber and also getting the berries. So the reason why I want the berries, and I will pull up a chart that shows this. in order to tame the shellback, you have to provide them food. Now, there's different variants that you can get whenever you tame these pets. So you have variant A, variant C, variant D, and then you have the one we want, which is the greater shellback. Now, in order to get the greater shellback, you only have a 10% chance, generally. And that is with berries. So with the desert berries, you get a 10% chance for a greater shellback to, for it to turn into a greater shellback. With the exotic shellfish, it looks like it's a 10% chance. Savory shellfish is a 10% chance. Now then, if you have the shade-spiced food, so shade-spiced desert berries, shade-spiced rotten shellfish, shade-spiced shellfish, shade-spiced succulent shellfish, and then also an unappetizing shellfish. So if you can get the shellfish, well, not the unappetizing, cancel that one right now, but the shade-spiced foods will give you a chance up to 14%. So the shade-spiced desert berries, the shade-spiced shellfish, and the shade-spiced succulent shellfish, if you feed that to them whenever they are being tamed in the pen, that bumps you up to a 14% chance of getting a greater shellback. The other variants, variant A is generally a 70% chance, with C and D being a 10% chance as well. If you use the exotic that's with desert berries. If you use exotic shellfish, variant A is a 60% chance, C is a 20, and D is a 10. So obviously, you got various chances to get the other variants, but we want the greater shellback. It is the strongest one. It is the larger one. And so I don't have fishing unlocked yet. I mean, if you've unlocked fishing and you've got the shellfish, if you can get the exotic shellfish, use that, because it's the exact same as the desert berries, but desert berries are a little easier to get. So if you're running along the river, and we're here, oops, zoom in a little bit. We are here. If you run along the river through here, and I think even up through here too, you will find these bushes. And these are the standard bushes that you get fiber from. So if I select that, I get plant fiber and seeds. So, okay, we can get our standard stuff from those. But with these, you get plant fiber, desert berries, and I think it was just plant fiber and desert berries. You might get some branches or some seeds. Let me see if there are any more. Yeah, there we go. So with desert berries, you can get plant fiber, seed. There we go. We got desert berry bush seeds. So you can get the seeds to grow these later on. So did I pick up? Okay, we've got our 5th shellback. And so when we come over here, we will put the 5th one in the pen. And then you don't want to put all your berries in there because they just need one. So let's see. How do I split? Shift, right click. I'm sure there's another way to do that, but we have our 5. We put that in there. And as soon as you drop it in, there is no hitting play. There is none of that. As soon as you drop the food in, they immediately start taming. So you can see here they're going. I'm going to let that run. I will cut back once we have our greater shellbacks, or we have them grown, to see what we got. Now, something I will add, you saw how fast that was going. That is because I went in here, and to make things a little easier, where's it at? To make things a little easier on recording and not having to spend all day waiting for them to grow. So I dropped my thrall crafting time multiplier from 1 to 0.10. Maybe it's under survival. Let's see. No. Is it under administration? Let's see. It's under general. Animal pen crafting time. I put that at 0.1. So mainly for thralls and animal pen crafting, I did change those to 0.1 just so I don't have to spend all day waiting for them to spawn, to craft up and spawn. Also, or not spawn, but just to craft. Also, I did boost the nighttime speed to 5, just so. When do you get inside? Get inside before the storm gets me. I adjusted those just so I can not spend all day having to wait on these, because crafting pets can be an all day ordeal. Now, I will say, based on the website that I'm using, according to that, it does take 30 minutes for each one to tame. So, in the standard 30 minutes, you would have 5 tamed, and you will be able to tell if you have what you want. So I will cut back once the storm passes and once we have our shellbacks, and see if we got one of the greater ones or if it's a bust and we have to try again. So we will see you when they're done. Alrighty, welcome back. They have grown up to be big shellbacks now, no longer babies. Let's see. Oh, it doesn't show. Okay, yeah, so you can see there's one in the pen, and it looks like it doesn't show the other ones. That's kind of sad. I thought it would show all of them, but maybe it's, since they're all shellbacks, it only shows one. But anywho, we got lucky. In our first go around, we have a greater shellback. The other 4 are your regular shellbacks, and according to what I'm looking at, these look like they are the variant A. So I'm going to pull one of those over. I'm going to pull this one over. They are very heavy, so, 50 pounds, 50 pounds. This one can be set free. They have a life to go live somewhere else that... Oh, never mind. We will set them free later. I thought that would just get rid of them and send them off to a farm in the Golden Woods to enjoy their life. Anywho, so we'll show this one first. I'll put that down. So in order to put them down, you have to put them on your hotbar, and then you can place it in the world. So there is one. And then we will place down the greater shellback. And as you can tell, that greater shellback is a lot larger than the other one. So I'm going to go ahead and put these other ones down too, just to get them out of my inventory. There's 3, 4, and 5. There we go. So these are all the same, and we don't need them. So break bond. Send them to live on the Golden Shores someplace else. Break bond. And break bond. There we go. Alright. So we have our greater shellback. As you can tell, it has a larger health pool compared to the standard. So just the standard one, health of 152. Greater has a health of 1,964. If we go in here into the... When you press E on them, it brings up this menu. If you click and hold E, you can pull up the stats. And so here you can see its stats. And with this one, it's got a 40% chance to grow strength, 40% chance to grow agility, 82% chance to increase vitality, and 82% chance to increase grit. So what that means, every time this particular one levels up, there is a chance that these stats will increase by at least 1. So your vitality and grit have the 82% chance, whereas strength and agility, just a 40% chance. That's not very, very high, but we don't need you go live on the Golden Shores away from me. For the greater shellback, let's pull up his stats. Alrighty, so he starts out with 2 strength, no agility, 8 vitality, and 3 grit. So grit is going to be the armor rating. Vitality is health. Agility is strength is strength. So same thing, 40, 40. Now then, he's got a 58% chance to increase vitality, but a 100% chance, a 100% chance to increase his grit every level. So that means every time this levels, it should be gaining a level of grit. Now, how would we increase these values? So obviously when it levels up, there's a 40% chance, but let's say I really want it to increase its vitality. And so there are certain foods that you can feed them that will give them different stat boosts and also help them recover health. So over here on the right side, you can see the 3D model. That looks nice. It gives you the damage rating, armor rating, armor penetration, which is 0. So damage is 0, armor is 179, armor penetration is 0. Okay. Here's its diet. You have the exotic shellfish, vines, desert berries, unappetizing shellfish, or looks like a shrimp, savory shellfish or crabs, that's a lobster, plant fiber, which is easy to get, shade spice succulent shellfish, dried fish, oyster flesh, or aloe leaves. Now, as this starts from left to right and increasing, so this is 1, this is 10. Exotic shellfish gives it 1 health per second, whereas the aloe leaves, if you feed it aloe leaves, whenever it recovers its health, it's 10 health per second. So the higher up this tier you go, the more health your pet will recover. So for instance, like I said, aloe leaves, they will get 10 health per second, then it's 9, 8, shade spice is 7, plant fiber is 6, your savory shellfish is 4, then 3, then 2, and then vines and exotic shellfish are 1. Now also, each time you feed your pet one of these different foods, it also increases the chance for the stats to boost. So for instance, we'll pull up the stats. All right, so strength is 40%. Let's say I want to try to get the strength to grow every time this levels up. So if I feed plant fiber to our shellback, that boosts that 40% by 14, so it goes from being 40% to 54%. Still not great numbers, but hey, it's a 54% chance that on leveling up, it will increase the strength stat by at least 1. Or if I feed it shade spice succulent shellfish, my cat was over here, I was petting on her, and now I got fur in my mouth somehow. So if I feed the greater shellback shade spice succulent shellfish, then strength has a 7% chance to grow, and then vitality also gets an extra 7%. So some foods split that number into 2, and you have a increase of being able to boost 2 stats instead of 1. It's not that much. I mean, 7%. So, I mean, if this was like at 90%, that 7% would be awesome. But whenever it's low, like 40%, 47%, it's still more, but it ain't that great. And then there are some like, excuse me, I'm still coughing over here. So for instance, oyster flesh, you have a 3% chance boost to agility and vitality. Aloe leaves, you have a 7% chance to strength and a 3% chance to agility. So, depending on what you're wanting, I would definitely recommend just going online. You can Google it. I think this is on the Conan Exiles fandom.com. In fact, I'll put a link to the website so you can easily pull it up. To kind of give you an idea of what food you should be feeding your pets to boost their growth. And really what we want for the shellback, because they're kind of tanky, you want them to kind of be your tank. I mean, they're your pet. You're not going to use them like you would a thrall. Mostly, I want this guy to come with me. I want him to survive, and I want him to carry all my crap. I want him to carry all my stuff that whenever I'm doing my mining, or my logging, whatever I'm doing, I want him to carry things. So let me close out of that. So if I go here and you see in his inventory, your character kind of has, I'm not going to say unlimited inventory, but these spaces grow as you add stuff to it. Your pets and your thralls only have a set amount, but they do not have a weight restriction. So I can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can get 10 stacks of iron, 10 full stacks of iron, and throw it on this bad boy, and he's not going to become over encumbered. I would, but he will not. And so that's where these pets and thralls come in handy. They help you carry your gear. When you're out doing your mining, you're out doing stuff, you can carry more, because now I can carry 10 stacks of whatever, or actually 9 stacks, because I usually keep a stack of food in here. You can carry 9 to 10 stacks of whatever you're needing on your pet, on top of whatever you have in your inventory. So, I mean, you can do one mining run and kind of be done with your mining for the week in a few hours. Also, here we have their behavior. You have their combat tactics. So do you want them to chase? Do you want them to withdraw? Do you want them to hold? Following behavior. So when they are following you, this would apply. You got passive, defensive, aggressive. If you put them on aggressive, anything that would attack you, they will go chasing after. So if you want to be fighting left and right, set your pets and thralls to aggressive and get ready for combat at the wazoo, because they are going to go after everything that's hostile towards you. They're not going to, it's basically, they're going to go pick fights with everything. I usually like to keep it on defensive, mostly so that way if something attacks me, if something attacks them, they will go take care of business, and I can continue doing what I'm doing, and hopefully they can take care of themselves and not die. Guarding behavior. So when you first place them down, they are guarding. You can see right here it says Greater Shellback Fighter guarding. He's just standing there. He's not doing anything. So when they're guarding, that means that they are just going to sit here, and if, for instance, an alligator came coming up here, it would go chase after the alligator. Defensive would be if something hostile came up and attacked it, then it would fight back, but it's not going to go looking for a fight. I like to keep them as aggressive whenever they're guarding. Passive, obviously, passive means that they're not going to fight. They can take an arrow to the knee and they're not going to worry about it. They're just going to stand there and take it and eventually die, unless you specifically tell them to attack. Now, behavior distance. So when they're following, I like to set this to, 5, 10, 15, about 15 meters. So that keeps them within 15 meters of me. The attack distance, I usually put to 15. Chase distance, I like to drop that down to about 20, 25 meters. That way they don't go running off too far. I don't want them running too far away from me, because if, for instance, they go chasing after something they have no business fighting that's massive, that's a big enemy, one of the boss enemies or something like that, I don't want them chasing it, halfway across the map and end up dying, and then I have to go get all my stuff. So 20, 25 meters. This is all personal preference, whatever you want to keep it at, whatever you want to set it to. Go for it. But these are what I like to have, following at least 10, 15 meters, attack 10, 15 meters, and chase. I wouldn't go more than 25, just because you do not want your shellback, your thrall, running off and getting into something they can't control or they can't handle and dying, because then you have to do the taming all over again. Plus you have to level them. So up here at the top we have level 0. Currently 0 out of 2,400, so it needs 2,450 experience to level up. We got its health right here. And as far as what stats do I want it to grow, I really want it to grow its vitality and its grit, but unfortunately its grit's already at 100, so don't worry about that, but there are no foods that will increase the grit percentage. But I do want its vitality to stay up, so I will put the desert berry here. It's eating. Let's go to its stats. It ate 1. I put 19. So it is regenerating 2 points of healing every second. Okay. But now you can see right here, vitality, 58%, but it now has that plus 14. So that adds an extra 14% to this 58 to give it a chance to gain vitality when it levels up. And I believe 14 and 58, I'm horrible at math, but I believe that's like 72. So there's now a 72% chance that this will grow whenever it levels up. So let me get him to follow. Your pets, your thralls, they will only gain experience when they follow you. So let's get him to come over here. Maybe? You gonna follow me? Oh, okay, he's following. Let's see. We'll run over here and see if he follows me onto this side of the river. There we go. So, I am not going to fight or anything. I'm just going to stand here. What's going on with this guy? You're not going to... There we go. Now he's fighting. Now then, something to note for commands. If you want to command your shellback to attack, you can press E, and it will order them to attack. The problem with that is, a lot of other things are set to E. So if I go here to where is combat, and I scroll down, command attack. I usually change that to so that it will I won't have to use E in order for it to fight. So I put the command as F because, for instance, if I am here and let's say I am trying to target something and there's something like this in the way, I'm going to pick up that stone instead of telling it, see, I'm picking up stone instead of telling it to go attack. There we go. Finally, you know, I'm finally able to get it to, but you don't want to sit there and you're trying to tell it to attack something that's coming at you and it keeps hitting you keep picking up stone or sticks. You know, so I would definitely go into your settings and adjust the commands on the attack to a key that you're more comfortable with that isn't going to also be the same one that's used to pick things up. So you're not sitting there trying to tell it to attack something and picking up a branch or something like that. So let's let him finish off this one. Come over here and help. There we go. Oh, he leveled up. Well, let me get my skinning knife. Oh, we also completed the Beastmaster journey. We'll have to check that out in a second. So pull out my skinning knife. Get some savory flesh. Get some hides. I think I'm going to change that follow distance because I don't like where it's at. Follow 15. I'm going to keep it at, I'll keep it at 5. So, let's look at the stats. Well, looky there. So, strength is 2. Agility is still 0. Vitality is now 10 and grit is 5. So that vitality, I believe, went up. So it's now got, 2,214 health. If you look in here, it's been eating the berries to gain its health. So yeah, that's kind of dealing with pets. You want them to, they can carry stuff for you. They are good for that. They can help you attack. And basically they're just, they can be good guards. Let me run back over here. Put this one down because there's some other pets that I want to try to get. So your shellback is definitely a and if you need to place really quick, if you need to place them, you select stand guard and then you can tell them where to stand. So we're going to put this big guy right here. And then it says, obviously when you put them to guard, they are no longer following. So I am going to go empty my pockets, and then I will see you where I get to the next location where we can discuss another pet that you can get in the early stages of the game. So I will cut back once we get over there. See you in a little bit. Alrighty, we are back, and before we continue any further, there's some things I wanted to do before we do this next part. First of all, we are here by the Sentinels. I know a lot of people build their base here because it is just up generally from where you start. And it is a very good starting location. I mean, you got iron here. But just to kind of read on the berries, from earlier, if you're needing berries, I ran all the way along the river right through here where our base is, and I have 137 here on me. And if you look here, I've got 300 berries for the shellback. So if you're needing berries, just check along the river. It just run through here, and you will find a ton of berries. You can also eat berries. You can eat them to increase your health and water, or not health and water, your stomach, to fill your stomach up. So there we go. See, I just bumped mine up to 65%, but a good old tasty steak will definitely increase it a lot more. And I mean, speaking of berries, here I am right here by the sentinels. I mean, there's one, there's two, and I'm finding berries right here. I mean, just almost replenished what I just ate. So berries are all up and down the river. But the reason, another reason why I wanted to come back is we have some attribute points to spend. And one of the things we want to do is we want to get the Irritate perk under Authority. So Authority determines the amount of damage your followers deal and the amount of concussive damage that you deal. Now, concussive damage is more related to thralls. We'll discuss that on a different video. But we want that Irritate perk, so I'm going to put at the least 5 points. So now we have Irritate, which means active followers will goad enemies, attempting to force them to attack your follower. So if I come back over here to our Greater Shellback, and look, he now has the perk Irritate Enemies. You can turn that on, you can turn it off. So on, off, on, off, on, off, on. I want to have that on because the Greater Shellback will be my tank, and I want him to, you know, try to get enemies to attack him instead of me. That also allows me to use different weapons that I normally wouldn't be able to use because I no longer have to use a shield. So we came over here for these guys. I'm hoping I can find some because there should be... Alright, they've been taken care of. There usually is some baby hyenas that spawn right here. And the hyena is another starting pet that you can get. So let me see if I can find one of the... There we go, right there. Bam. Grabbed him. So these things will run away, and they can run pretty quick. But, so we got one. I want at least 5 would be preferable. So let me put him here. Because these things are heavy. They do weigh, I believe they weigh, yeah, they weigh 50 pounds. So I'm going to go see if I can find some more hyena babies, but that's one of the showcases. Right here by where you start, you can easily get a free, not a free pet, but you can easily get a starter pet that is maybe not the shellback. But, you know, hyenas, they make good fighters. So you can get you a hyena pet to have someone come along and assist you. So I'm going to see if I can find a couple more hyena cubs or pups, and I will cut back to whenever I have them. So we will see you in a bit. Oh, there's one right there. Just turn around and bam. That puts me at 2. All right, we will cut back once we have at least 3 more. Alrighty, we are back at camp, and we have our 5 hyena whelps, spotted hyena whelps. And to give you an idea of where I found these, over here, you got the sentinels right here. Here's where we kind of found some iron through here, but here's where I found these hyena pups. So there's these 3 spots right here, and each one usually has 2, so that's 2, 4. You got a chance of getting 6. I will say, when you're getting the hyena pups, you got to grab them little guys fast, because if you give them a chance to run away, they will run away and disappear. So, but each one of these spots usually gives you 2. I know somewhere in these areas there's some more hyenas. There's a ton of hyenas around and through here. So usually where you find hyenas, you can find their pups. But there's some hyenas over here. I didn't see any pups at these little spawn points, but these I did note, and so I marked those so you can kind of get an idea of where to find some. What I would recommend doing is if you're building in this area, grab the 2 right here. You can go up this way, get some iron. Go up through here, you can get some coal over in here. Come up here. This is actually on top of this is actually up on top of the mountain. So you kind of got to come up through here. Grab this one, then you can drop down and grab 2 more here and then go back to your base. If you built right there. If you're like me and you built way the hell over here, then you've got a long ways to run. But we have, I did not mean to do that. We have our hyenas here. We got 5. So with the hyenas, you either get the variant B or the greater hyena, which is variant A. So you have a standard hyena, variant B, greater hyena, variant A. Obviously, you want the greater version because they are a little bit they're the stronger, the bigger, better version. Go big or go home. So the best way to ensure that you get a greater hyena variant is that you want to feed them feral flesh. Feral flesh gives them a 20% chance to turn into a greater hyena. Exquisite meat is a 10% chance. Exotic flesh is a 7%. Abysmal flesh is a 1%. Human flesh, 5%. Raw pork, 3%. Savory flesh, 15%. So if you don't have the feral flesh, which you really should, because feral flesh drops from killing hyenas. So when you are getting your pups, take out the hyenas, you get some pelts, you get some feral flesh, and then you can get you your greater variant. Now your shade spiced food, so shade spiced corrupted flesh, shade spiced fatty meat, shade spiced corrupted flesh 11%, shade spiced fatty meat is 13%, shade spiced human flesh is 15%, shade spiced perfect cut of meat is 20%, shade spiced raw stringy meat 30%, shade spiced raw succulent meat 25%, and then shade spiced raw tough meat 17%. So if you do have the ability to make these shade spiced meats, you can get a 30% chance with the shade spiced raw stringy meat to get the hyena variant. Obviously, early game you're probably not going to have shade spiced, the ability to make shade spiced food, but if you do, I would try that if you're really wanting to get this, or if you just want to do the numbers. I mean, at 20% and 5, we should get one. I believe it. Yeah, 20% and 5, we should get one. So we've got our feral flesh here. I've got, let's see. I just need to split this down to, there's 10 and 5. We drop that in. And there we go. They are off to the races on being tamed. And so I'm going to go empty out all my pockets because I've got a ton of hyena pelts. I plan on saving those. They can be useful or later. Something to note, when you are running around, there are these little camps. I've got 3 marked here for later reasons, to find some friends later on. But these camps, when you kill those other exiles, there's a chance you can get some light boots or some light armor. So early game, before you could even craft this, if you can efficiently kill them, I would farm them for some armor, and that's something you don't have to craft. You get it for free. But I'm going to go empty my pockets, and we will cut back once we have our hyenas. And let me put this guy down to guard. I got a ton of stuff. I got a ton of berries. Yeah, I kind of really filled him up. But I'm going to put him to guard, and then I'm going to empty out my pockets, and we will cut back to once we have our hyenas. So see you in a little while. All right, we are back, and you can tell we got a little hyena in there, so we've got our hyenas ready to go. Let's check out what we got. Alrighty, so right off the bat, we got a greater hyena. That's awesome. And then we have the standard hyenas, so let me go ahead and pull them out. Now I'm over encumbered. Let me get these guys on the old hotbar so we can get them placed out into the world. So here's the greater hyena. Here's a standard hyena. Here's another standard hyena. Another one. And we got ourselves just a regular old pack here. So let me see. These I don't want. So you can go live on the farm someplace else. Go live on a farm someplace else. Go live out in the farm someplace else. And I'm just going to hold on to this one. So with the hyena, you can tell this one has 186 health. Same 10 slots. The greater hyena has 1070 health, also 10 slots. Let's pull up their stats. So here we have strength 58%, agility 40%, vitality 88%, and grit 58%. So that vitality is a good number. That's great. Grit, not so much. Strength, not so much. Agility, that's not great. But I don't want to keep the standard hyenas, so we're going to send them off to go live on the Golden Shores farm. It's not with me. Alrighty, we have our greater hyena. Let's check out the stats. So we have strength 1, vitality 1, grit is 8. So every time this one levels up, it has a chance at 82% to grow strength, 40 for agility, 58 for vitality, and 64 for grit. Grit, I wouldn't mind having a little bit higher, but hey, it is what it is. Strength, that's great. So, you know, we can easily boost up our strength. When it comes to hyenas, the food of choice you want for them. So, their preferred foods, you've got savory flesh, raw pork, human flesh, exotic flesh, exquisite meat, abysmal flesh, shade spiced, raw stringy meat, savory jerky, meat strips, and spiced slivers. Now remember, starting from here to here is how much health. So spiced slivers gives them 10 health per second. This is 9, 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, and then 1. So, with that being said, when it comes to the bonuses, if you want, and let me pull back up the stats. So, strength, obviously, that's pretty decent where it's at, but should you want it to be even higher, in order to boost their strength, you can give them savory flesh, which does 7% to strength, 7% to agility. Abysmal flesh, which is plus 14% to strength. Shade spiced raw stringy meat, which is 7 to strength, 7 to vitality. Or the spiced slivers, which is a solid 7% to strength. So, if you wanted to boost strength, those would be the foods you used. For agility, obviously savory flesh gives 7%. Raw pork is 14. And then meat strips are 7%. If we wanted to boost vitality, you'd go with human flesh, which is 14%. Or shade spiced raw stringy meat, which is 7%. And as far as grit goes, there is nothing that boosts grit. So, unfortunately, if you get one that has a low growth chance for grit, they just are not going to. Unfortunately, they're just not going to have a good chance of growing. You might have to just pull another one. I mean, as you saw, I had 5, threw in my 5 flesh, and bam, we got 1. So 1 out of 5 isn't too bad. I believe it, you know, like I said, 20% chance. So you might have to do some farming to get the stat you want, or if you're fine with how it is, keep what you got. I'm going to keep this one because I haven't used hyenas that much, but I want to keep them, level them up, and see how they do. Your hyenas, I really want to increase vitality, so I'm going to be needing to farm up a lot of human flesh. So I'm about to be farming a lot of camps, but your hyenas are more of your fighters, so think of them like your DPS kind of guys. Your greater shellbacks, your tank. Your hyenas, the fighter. And then, you know, later on we move into thralls. Now, other things to be noted, as you level up your pets, as you level up your thralls, they can get perks. So here at level 10, they get 1, level 15, and level 20. Perks can also make adjustments to attributes and give them different things. So, you know, if you get one that has a bad perk, I believe there's a potion that you can give them that will reset their perks. But, you know, if you might have to do some gambling there with the perks. But anywho, so now we've got us a greater hyena. We have our greater shellback. And so, you know, there's other pets that we can tame, but these are the 2 that are pretty easy to get starting off because they're pups, they're little baby shellbacks. They all spawn all along here, along the river. They're not hard to get to. And so I think that's going to be it for today. We've grew the base a little bit. We now have us our animal pen. We got us a couple little guardians. We got a little guard dog, or our greater hyena. We got our shellback to protect us. And so the nice thing is, like I said, with these guys, when you're out getting material, you can easily fill up their inventory, and they can be your pack mules. So that's going to be it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. And we will see you on the next one. Have a good one. Goodbye.